saw your milk chocolate before.
Okay, we're live.
Hey,
This is going to be a mishmash of crap, but we got a lot of stuff we're going to cover. This past week, I just lost a friend to COVID. He had other underlying issues as well, but had it not been for the COVID, he still would be here. And you know, if the Republicans can have QAnon, then the Democrats can have Luanon. And I just came up with a bunch of conspiracy theories that might actually be workable.
fucking Luanon. Are you kidding me, dude? Luanon. That sounds like a new element or something, you know? Luan.
I've been watching over the past couple of months, and it seems like going with the shift in the Supreme Court and their new stance on Roe v. Wade, police brutality has also kicked up.
I've seen that.
And so has police racism. Now, I'll give you a couple examples, then I'll tell you what my conspiracy theory is. A couple examples. A 60-some-odd-year-old woman went to get a copy of her police report. She went to get a copy of her police report because someone had stolen her glucometer for her diabetes, and she had filed a report. She went to get a copy. She went to get a copy of it, and the police were giving her the runaround. So she took out her camera or her phone and said, "I'm filming this just so I have record of it." And so they beat her and broke one of her arms. Okay.
At the precinct.
Yeah. New NYPD. Georgia. You heard about the lacrosse team?
Yeah, that got stopped. The school bus or the bus that they were on.
Bus that they were on got stopped by a bunch of white cops.
Illegally.
By a bunch of white cops in Georgia. And searched through all their bags and everything. Basically humiliated the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And then they said, no, we didn't look through any personal property or anything until the body cam footage came out.
Yeah. It was all in the body cam footage, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just...
You phased out, Lou.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Your coffee cup's flashing.
Huh. Well, isn't that fun? There we go.
There you go. Oh, yeah, I got a big old picture of your head.
I accidentally unplugged it. So.
That's what she said.
So there's all this going on. Oh, another example. A white cop stopped a black cop in uniform, pepper sprayed him, pulled a gun on him, and then had him fired so that he wouldn't get in trouble for doing it to a black guy.
What? I haven't heard that. That's new to me.
And so the black officer is now suing the police department.
What?
Unbelievable. Pulled him over for a traffic stop. He was in uniform. And the white cop says, "How do I know you're a cop? Prove it to me." And claimed he was an imposter. So he pepper sprayed a real cop. And then when it came out, he pushed all the buttons he could to get this guy fired. And he did.
And he actually got the guy fired.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so
with those three examples
about it, what are they doing about it?
So we got those three examples, and they're widespread. There's an old white woman, a bus full of teenagers of mixed races, and a police officer, a black police officer. Here's my theory. The police are going to continue to ramp up these things to see how far they can push and still get away with it in court, to the point that they are going to be the Republicans' right-hand militia in martial law.
Yeah, but that's only a select few. I don't think that's very organized, if that's what you're thinking. There's too many good cops that can stop that.
No, there's not.
No, I know, dude. My neighbor down here, man, I've known him for a long time. He wouldn't put up.
I'm not saying there's not good cops.
No, I know, but I don't. I think
what I'm saying is, for instance,
what you're talking about.
But for instance, the woman with the broken arm, the 63-year-old woman, full precinct full of cops, nobody stopped them. Not one. Nobody stood up and said, "Hey, what you're doing ain't right. Get off her." They all turned their eyes.
Yeah, I saw that response too.
And if that's an entire precinct, you can't tell me, well, the good cops will stop everything. They won't.
But that's far different than a larger scale that you're referring to. That's much different. There's local cops. They're going to run into too many familiar people, relatives, brothers, sisters, cousins, friends, whatever. And it's just going to be that much more difficult to do what you're suggesting in their area. Now, if they take them and move them to another area, I suppose that could be different. I seriously don't think they're going to leave their family areas during times of crisis. They would rather be there to repel any potential problems. I don't know. I can't see that. Maybe in Republican
think about it.
But not in.
Think about this for a second. Do you remember January 6th? How many police departments left their precincts and left their vicinities and went to help in Washington? Do you not remember that?
Well, I remember some of that, but a lot of that is because they kept asking for reinforcements and no one was coming. Pence actually called in for the National Guard, and he had to somehow overstep his authority to do so because he wasn't the president at the time.
Correct, but all the Republicans have to do is phrase it the right way, and you will see precinct after precinct going somewhere else.
Right.
And I'm just saying it's a theory. It's not a fact.
It's almost a stretch. I'll grant you the theory, but it's still a stretch. Yeah.
I say it has more legs to it than the Roman Catholic Church being led by Satan.
Just think about how many municipals you're talking about. I mean, that's a lot of separate individual police departments and things like that, areas. And I don't know, that's a lot to coordinate. They have a hard time coordinating when someone's speeding down a road. A lot of times, people get away because they can't coordinate their efforts interjurisdictional districts and things like that. You know how it is. It's like, fuck you, you're in my area. No, you're in my area. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think this theory has more legs.
Hey, hang on a second. My friend wants to chime in. Go ahead.
Okay. Just in support that if we look at the small crowd around the president during the insurrection, that group of monkeys can't even communicate without leaving a trail that like I was telling Matt earlier, covers every bit of the electronic spectrum. Phones, TV, whatever, radio. There's no way they could orchestrate a multi-state, interdependent conspiracy without smearing it like peanut butter all over the press.
Right.
That's the end of my
I didn't say that they were going to get away with it or that it was going to be successful. I
Fair
just
enough.
said it. This is what they're ramping up for.
Oh, that I agree.
Well, no, the January 6th was a dry run. It was something that happened, and they went with it, and they used it as a dry run. They're ready for it. They're getting ready for it. It depends how many secretaries of state they can replace and put into positions. Because, dude, they're gonna. If they can take this next election, if they're gonna lose, they will. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna happen.
I also think that this theory has more legs than the Catholic Church being led by Satan and Jewish space lasers. So I'm pretty much above the rest.
Jews are pretty technical. Why couldn't they make lasers in space?
And
it's
they
not
do have space lasers, but they don't control voting.
I would say ask Frank Zappa. He knows about the Jewish.
Now you just happened to mention the midterms.
Mention what?
Yeah, the midterms.
Midterms, yes. If we make it to the midterms, that'd be nice.
Now, well, yeah. My thing is now, this is a multi-state.
The state I'm hearing right now.
This is a multi-state issue of them allowing people to go in and tamper with the machines. This is not just one state in various areas. This is multiple states. Yes.
And they've copied hard drives. They've copied all kinds of other things. And then, one, the information's insecure. My bet is that they're going to use this to say, hey, look, we have voter fraud. Look, see, the machines are tampered with. And they got caught because, well, Republicans are just really, I'm sorry to say, but stupid.
They did get caught. And where I got confused is they said, at one point, someone said they were allowed to break machines.
Yes, they were giving permission to, hey, if you think you can find voter fraud, I'm a Republican and I'm in authority to give you this permission, and I hereby give it to you. Yeah, it's pretty much what the stories were saying.
Now, I am not going to play partisan bullshit.
Well, why not?
Because I'm going to put the facts out there.
Absolutely.
Just tell me this: out of all those states that allowed people to tamper with the voting machines,
mm-hmm.
how many of those politicians that allowed them to go in were Republican, and how many were Democrat?
All of them were Republican. Well, that was released in the story, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All of them were. Oh, yeah, they're creating the voter fraud so they can say, yeah, hey, look, we have voter fraud. We've been saying it all along. That's what they're doing. They're copying this equipment so they can figure out a way to get in it. But you know what? All voting machines, it's a requirement. It's a federal requirement, if I'm not mistaken, that these machines are eternally isolated. They cannot be accessed remotely. They cannot be connected to any form of internet, Bluetooth, or any other form of external connection. They're air gapped. Yes, that's what they're.
I say either we go back to handwritten ballots, or
yeah, what's wrong with that?
Or the old voting machines.
I like the old voting machines, and I think that's
pull the lever, grab the lever, you're done.
Yeah.
Some folks can't do that.
Yeah, but that's when we have assistance for that, or you bring a friend.
Well, not even assistance. That's why we have paper ballots.
I would make your choice for you if you're Republican. I would do whatever you said. What's that?
That's why we would have paper ballots for people who can't do that
exactly.
kind of stuff.
We've been doing absentee since the beginning of time. They're just shedding a light on it now because it was a tool we were using during the pandemic to get people out to vote, and it scared them. And because everybody has, even Trump freaking votes by mail, so he can piss off. And not to mention, you have some senators that reside in one state and cast their vote in a second state that they have a residence in. Or some states are senators in states that they don't live in. So that's not right either.
That like brings me to that. Like who?
Josh Hawley. He doesn't live in the state that he represents.
Well, see, that brings me to that question. Dr.
Oz. He doesn't live in Pennsylvania.
Dr. Oz lives in Jersey, yet he's running in Pennsylvania. Is that legal?
That was a disqualifier right there. Yeah. Mehmet Oz, he lives in Jersey and he's running for office in Pennsylvania.
Based on the fact he went to school there.
I think so, or something like that, yeah. But that doesn't give him any, no.
Agreed.
So he should be disqualified, plain and simple.
Especially since, from what I understand, he doesn't own the house he lives in.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's renting it from his wife's parents?
That's a scam alert.
Yeah, scam alert.
So, yeah. So all this stuff happening, we got, with this voter machine tampering.
Mm-hmm.
Are they trying to make it look like trying to be like ninjas and say, hey, look, the Democrats destroyed these machines. The Democrats tampered with these machines, and they've been doing it all along, so that when they lose, or if they win, but the wrong person wins, they can go in and go, oh, see, it's tampering, and so you have to throw out the whole thing.
Republicans and Wile E. Coyote have a lot in common. Seriously, I mean, look how comical their mistakes are.
Do they both shop at Acme?
They've done so much right out in the open. They're so brazen about what they're doing. They don't give a fuck if anyone sees them. They'll just say fake news, because no one on their side is going to watch anything that's mainstream except for Fox or Newsmax or OANN or whatever. So they will never see the story that's placing, because those other news places will never run the story.
Well, see, that's my question. I saw it on several different mainstream media channels about the election machine, the voting machine tampering. How it's come out within the last 24 hours. That's
November. I guarantee.
How many times do you think it's going to run on Fox?
A lot, until the message gets sunk in, because that's how they deliver the message. It's a constant repeat of the same crap, and then they eventually.
No. How many times do you think it'll run on Fox? The story of all these Republicans messing with voting machines.
Oh, zero. It'll never happen.
Huh. Whatever happened to India?
Do you think they'll ever run that story on Fox News? I'm going
to explain what's happening.
Hang on, he's going to explain something to us.
Okay, I'm sorry. What you have here is some junior level network engineer guys that think they can understand the hardware and inject information into the next voting system. See,
uploading what they have.
They want to be able to manipulate the rolls next time. That's why they want access to the hardware and to image the drives, but they don't understand the system was built by people way smarter than they are, and that are prepared for this. And not only that, they've now disqualified all that equipment that's been.
Yeah, right. All that equipment would need to be recertified, which it won't be. So they'll just get new equipment. But what they did in Arizona, that cost the taxpayers millions of dollars because of the way they handled that equipment. And they're not alone.
Stupid.
The way these guys broke into this equipment to try to prove their point, which ultimately the freaking election ninjas or whatever those assholes are called, they couldn't find anything, even though
the cyber ninjas.
Hang on, even though the cyber ninjas, even though in a committee hearing in front of Congress, they said, well, we have all kinds of stuff. And they're like, okay, well, let's see it. Well, we don't have it with us. What do you mean? You've come to Congress and you don't have the evidence of voter fraud that you've been trying to find. Well, they couldn't find anything. And they had nothing to deliver in front of Congress. Because if you have, like my pillow guy, you know what? If you have all that information, give it to Congress. If they have Biden's laptop, because this is similar but off the subject, hand it to the FBI. Turn it over to them. Don't give it to
Don't trust them. Don't trust them. We don't trust the FBI.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, they can't do the FBI. Whatever. Hand it over to somebody else that's in law enforcement that you trust, and let them do it. Or something else. But they don't have it.
Yeah, but if you do that, you won't be able to get money.
Yeah, you won't be able to ring it out for all the votes it's worth and all the donations you can get from it.
Yeah, it's
about money.
Look at how many times Mike Lindell has said, I've got this information. I'm going to hold a big conference. Everyone pays $1,000 a seat.
His symposium or whatever the fuck he had.
Only parts of it, because I could only stomach so much.
Guy who's running for senator, I believe it is.
Of course.
My apologies for not remembering his name, but it's the guy who ran 8chan and all that. Okay, who's now running for Congress, who is the supposed QAnon shaman or whatever guy created it, even though he's denying it.
The mixed breed? dude. He's half Japanese.
Yeah, or of some Asian descent, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can see his face, but I can't remember his name.
They
Not off the top of my
bought
head.
8chan from that guy with
The short dude.
yes.
Yes. Yeah, I can't remember his disease.
Yeah.
But I mean, that guy got out because he was a better person than me. That's the reasons why I believe he got out.
He thought he could make a few bucks by selling the property.
Yeah, but also there was more to it than that because I watched it. Anyway, we're getting off topic. But anyway, yeah, I mean, there's a documentary on HBO that goes through that part, and it's called Q or QAnon or whatever. It's on HBO, and I think it's worth a listen. If I don't mind plugging an HBO.
I didn't know he was running for election at all.
Yeah, this guy. That's why they don't want debates. That's another thing too. Like the Republicans pulled out of the RNC pulled out of the national debate for presidents. Are you kidding me? You guys can't even answer questions anymore, even if they're hard questions or questions whatever. Even if they're gotcha questions, so what? Answer it. You guys have a lot to atone for, man. And I can't believe that the American people would be willing to allow this RNC thing to go unanswered. You have to have a debate.
It shows their lack of interest. If you ask them a question,
it's worse than that.
No. If you answer a question, if you ask them a question and they can't answer it, it's because they don't give a shit. They don't want that portrayed to the American people.
Of course not. Right. They don't want to look weak because they are. They have no position. The RNC finally put out what their I don't know, plan is for the party because they haven't had one since before Trump. When you went to the RNC page, you found nothing. They had no whatever their fucking goals are. Well, now they do. Oh man, sorry, I'm not better prepared for this. But just recently, they finally Rick Scott. Is that maybe I got the Rick Scott? Yes, that is him. He's the one who's in charge of writing all the new going forwards for the RNC. One of them was anyone making less than $100,000 a year, their taxes are going to go up, and things like that. And they want to privatize public schools, so everyone gets a voucher. So there is no longer. They want to get rid of public schools. Hello, they want to get rid of entitlements. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no such fucking thing as entitlements. That's insurance that we pay into. And I wish they would stop saying that about Social Security, But yeah, they want to piss that away, which it's my fucking money. I paid my whole life into that stuff. I'm not even eligible for retirement yet. They're going to take it away? Are you fucking kidding me? They've been
according to Senator Snapping Turtle.
Who's that?
They don't want to take it away. They just want to make it harder to
get. They want to privatize it. Dude, they want to privatize it. All of it. They want to take the money and privatize it. But that's separate tax.
There's a way.
I know he was talking about the other day, instead of 66 being the cutoff, he thinks
that's 72.
He thinks it should be way past that because our life expectancy
is what they want to raise fucking retirement age to.
Now let's think about this for a second.
Bless my dad, he lived to 90, man. Do you know how many people don't live to 90? My dad retired at 65, I think. So he had 25 years of life after
neither one of my parents lived to 90. Neither one of my parents.
That's kind of my point. And my apologies for that. I believe I met both of your parents at one point or another, but still, it's bullshit that we give them the best years of our life. They allow us to have the end of our life. But that's the worst part. And then they leave us out to eat cat food. That's bullshit. Maybe I made some of the wrong decisions in my career, but it doesn't really matter. When it comes time for me to retire, everyone should retire with some fucking dignity and not have to worry about how to eat or pay for medical expenses. It's bullshit.
Well, this is absolutely true. Which brings me to the point
Republicans want to take all that away, man. All of it's gone. Even for guys like you and me, dude. It's bullshit. Bullshit.
I think that they should cap all political offices as the term limits, so you can't have career politicians.
Right.
And with that being said, this is another one of my Luanon conspiracy theories. According to what Trump and everyone says,
I'll get with you later, man.
According
Sorry,
to what
man.
Trump
My friends have
Give me a shout.
Oh, no problem. According to what Trump and all his followers say, is that he did not lose the election in 2020.
Right.
Well, if he didn't lose the election in 2020, he's still the sitting president. If he's still the sitting president, then he can't run in 2024 because you're only allowed to be a president for 2 terms.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to their own information, he is ineligible to run for president in 2024. According to their own party.
Yeah. So it should be.
Now, one of the other things I want to talk about is this Roe v. Wade thing. Here, well, it's a combination of things. I need someone, any Republican at all, anyone, to explain to me how you can decide that women have to have babies in the middle of a baby formula shortage, where babies, if they're not allowed, if they're forced to be born, will have no food to eat.
And that's just for starters.
My grandson is 8.5 months old. My daughter has half a can of formula left. Can't find any anywhere. Not online, not through Amazon, not through stores, pharmacies, nowhere. I've even checked several states and they don't have it.
Are you kidding me, dude? You want me to look down here? I will. I'll look on the shelf.
I have people looking all over the place in Minnesota, down in North Carolina. There's no.
I'll look here.
formula.
I haven't paid attention. I don't have kids. Sorry. Well, not that.
I know, but I've been hustling all day trying to find even one can to get him through, and there's nothing. And if there's nothing for a live baby, and they're now going to force more babies to be live, what are they going to do?
Well, what they have to do is stop pointing fingers at what they assume is the problem, and maybe doing a little bit of legwork and finding out what's going on. And it's going on because of the manufacturer. They're having the problems. It has nothing to do with Biden. No, they're not sending it in pallets.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Orders, MGT says, or whatever, TG, or whatever. Fuck. Anyway, they're not sending it up in pallets. And examples they're using, if you look at those examples, read the labels. It's applesauce. It's not formula.
Oh, I know.
They can fuck off.
I know, but like I said, even I live in New York. I have friends in Minnesota. I have my cousins in New York City. I've got a friend in North Carolina. They've all been looking, and they can't find it. This is not an area thing. This is a countrywide thing.
Supplier issue.
Now, I have a friend in California who says that she may be able to find a couple cans out there, but by the time it gets shipped here, it could be a week.
Well, what you really have to worry about is, what's going to come off the shelf next? Ensure. If Ensure flies off the shelves next, well, then they're going to implement phase 2. Because you drink
we can't keep
yourself alive.
We can't find Enfamil, can't find Similac, can't find Gerber. Now,
really?
My question is,
I can't believe it.
Yeah. My question is, what has to be done to bring this supply back? Because now your demand, no matter how much you make, your demand is going to outweigh your supply because you can't make it fast enough.
But why did it drop off so quick in the first place? What happened? Did people hoard it like they did shit paper?
What happened was, from what I understand, From what I
I don't know the
understand,
backstory, so yeah.
Similac came out. Similac had an issue, and they had to recall quite
Uh,
a few of their cans. When that happened, everyone panicked, and they panic bought the
Stock up.
supplies, and now there are no supplies. There's not there. The demand is way too high. Now, if the demand is too high for the supplies, and then you have to resupply that demand, there's no way. There's no way to keep up.
Right.
And so, and that's at the current rate. Now, if you introduce more children, more infants to the mix, because now you're stopping abortions and whatnot, now you're making the demand even higher for the suppliers to meet.
Right.
So how is that supposed to work to keep people? All they're doing is finding a different way to kill the same person.
I can hear your point.
They're saying, well, you can't do it, but we're going to starve them to death so we can do it.
Do you really think it's sinister like that? Really?
What other reason would there be to, in the middle of a formula shortage for
Right, but
necessary
doesn't
food
that affect
for
everyone though? Class aside?
Oh, class aside. Well, the thing
But I
is,
suppose they could probably pay someone to provide a tip for their kid, though, I guess. Right?
the thing is,
Scary as that sounds.
the Republicans believe, whether it's factual or not, that black and brown people procreate more than white people without responsibility.
Right, they're afraid that they're going to contaminate the white line, which is, that's whatever, really. Everybody's got a little something in them.
So this is their way of leveling it out and saying, well, our population is getting too big. Let's find a way to fix it where not only do we lose those ones from abortion, we'll lose all of them.
Wow. I do agree that our population is out of control and it's not sustainable. But as far as population control goes, in my personal opinion, I think education will take care of that on its own. And people will just make the right choices for where they live if we educate people. But
I'll tell you,
it's out of control. But there's ways to do it without making anyone do anything.
This idea of what they're doing came from COVID. Let me explain. There was a point where people were saying the shots are killing you. They're putting this in the shot, they're putting that in the shot. And the opposites, and they're saying this is a way of them controlling the population. And the Republicans went ding, 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 ding. I have an idea. We can do it without being so obvious by stacking the court and getting Roe versus Wade thrown out. Then we create a shortage. Then we create a formula shortage or a food shortage because you don't have vegetables and fruits on the shelves like they should be.
No,
you don't. You don't have proteins like meats and stuff that are super high and expensive now because of the demand. Mm-hmm. And now you have children's formula disappear.
Well, I suppose that's a pretty good way to start. I mean, for what you're talking about, if you start at the bottom with the children, then right. you could effectually. I mean, look, we're just talking numbers and stuff, so forgive me if I sound crass. But yeah, if you kill off a certain level of a population at the infancy stage, I mean, well, that creates a huge gap generationally where you don't have those people growing up to produce children. So yeah, you're going to thin out a population by doing so. I guess that makes scientific sense. Right. That's fucked up, dude. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised. I've always thought that there was some form of populist agenda because of war of the workforce. If we have too strong of a middle class, then we have too strong of a workforce that can retaliate against us and have the means to do so, and can also have the savings to continue to support themselves when they're not employed. If you have enough people without the middle class that are too poor, like as far as striking with the union, well, a lot of the union people can't strike because they can't afford to take care of themselves during the strike period. They're not making any money. They still have to eat. So that's a similar thing. If you starve out the $5 an hour person, which there's quite a few of, well, they can't even pay attention to the news. They're so worried about other things. So, yeah, I can see your point, and that's pretty frightening.
So now we have conspiracy of the beginning, conspiracy of the end, and we have the voting conspiracy of the middle. My question
that's only to get the voting conspiracy is temporary. That only needs to happen to get him in the position. Beyond that, it's unnecessary. They'll get rid of voting.
It's necessary for them to get the right people in the right positions.
Right. Dude, I hope people realize that, you know what, if you don't mind me just having a second, people say that, I don't like the candidates, so I don't want to vote blue, I want to vote independent or whatever. They don't like Joe Biden. Man, in my opinion, I hope he steps aside and lets someone else younger take over, but that's just me. But if Biden is in there, suck it up. Let's get the blue in place. Once we get the blue in place, we got rid of the red. And once we do that, then we can start to vote blue people in place that are going to do what we want them to do. I'd rather have the Democrats in power, because at the end of the friggin' day, they're not going to take my rights. I'll still be alive, and I'll still be able to vote the next time around. With the Republicans, I don't think that's such the case. I think when they have complete power, they're going to take over, and we won't even have the proper ability to vote after this, because they'll have people in power to change that.
Well, let me interject for a second. Now, Kamala Harris is the first female vice president. Yes?
Yes, I like her, but I just don't think she's what we.
Now, hold on a second. Let me finish though. Do you think that
I take her? Don't get me wrong.
Do you think that us making that step, we've now had a black president, we now have a female vice president. How long before we have a female president?
I don't know. That depends on her qualifications. Right
well,
now.
We all saw from this recent.
I'm sorry, but all right, go ahead. I was going to say, if you mentioned Hillary, I'm sorry, but
no.
I think she was really qualified.
No. One has nothing to do with the other. We all saw from this recent Supreme Court hearings. What do you call them? Confirmation hearings. That qualifications don't mean shit.
No, they don't. They have a rehearsal. They got a.
You could be qualified up the wazoo. If they don't like you, it don't matter. So now,
like Michael Jackson, she's
my thing is
qualified at the Supreme Court. In my opinion.
Well, yeah, but yet they still put her through shit.
And not one of them voted for her. She was put in by the Democrats, not Republican help.
That also leads me to, why can't we just go, hey, Manchin, you're now a Republican, get out of the building.
Censure. He should be censured. Absolutely, he should be censured. And Sinema.
She didn't. She wasn't an opposing vote on the last issue.
Yeah, but look how she is. Look how many times both of them have blocked us, like in the Build Back Better deal.
Yeah, but
my thing is for no reason.
But my thing is with Sinema, maybe she's starting to realize she has to play ball.
Come on, this is a woman's rights thing. Can you imagine her being, she's a lesbian. Can you imagine
I didn't know that.
What her spouse would say if she opposed women's rights? At least I would assume.
Especially since Roe v. Wade going down is the first
Yes.
step in taking down the LGBTQ.
And yeah, the entire LGBT.
Right. Right. So what I was thinking was if we could get a strong enough ticket, do you think a woman would be elected?
The right woman, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know
now,
who that woman would be. It's not
before
You know what?
you
I
laugh
think
at
I
me,
think if
before
AOC
you
ran,
wait,
I'd vote
wait,
for
wait,
him.
wait, 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 wait. Before you laugh at me, let me tell you my idea.
What are you going
And
to wear a dress and run for office?
No, I have the perfect ticket. Are you ready?
I'm bracing
Elizabeth
myself.
Warren-
Made a drink.
Elizabeth Warren as president, and
Bernie
Mitt
Sanders.
Romney as vice president.
The only thing I think about that is it worries me that he's a Mormon. Other than that, I don't know, Republican. I would see Sam Kinzinger probably first, and maybe Romney second. I'd want to hear more Romney in a debate.
I was toying with the idea of either Romney or Beto O'Rourke.
I like Beto. I don't know how strong of a candidate he would be. But yeah, I watched him when he was running for Texas. And I thought he was a pretty strong candidate, to be honest with you. I also, to be honest with you, one more thing, as either a president or a vice president would be Pete Buttigieg. I like Mayor Pete a lot. I think he's a good, level-headed dude. He's calm under pressure. I've seen the way
I would rather see him in. I would rather see him in a different role. Like, for instance,
I don't know, man.
Speaker.
To be honest with you, I think we're more due for a president like Pete Buttigieg than we necessarily are for today's woman. And I feel
it's sad because Elizabeth Warren, in my opinion,
what we have to choose from, I think politically for what's happening in the LGBTQ community, that I think Buttigieg is the best candidate. And I think maybe after him, we'd go into a female situation. Because it would diversify the entire chain below him. That pool would change, and we get some new blood. Is the only reason why I say that. We get some younger women candidates like AOC. I'd like to see her as president. I really hope that's on her agenda in her future. I think she'd make a fantastic president.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not going to wait. It's still too early. It's still too early to tell. It's still too early to tell. I think that Elizabeth Warren would make a really good. Elizabeth Warren would make a really good president. I've seen her on many different issues, and I saw the passion that she had about this Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
And like she's got the smarts and she's got the passion.
But think about it. She would be better served in a position that exploits her passion, something with money, something in finance, something going after big business and keeping them on her toes,
But if she does that, then she wouldn't.
Not a presidential candidate, because I believe she is. I just think her age and a few other things, I think she would be better served in a different position. But if she was the Democrat on the ticket, I would happily vote for her.
And I know this sounds weird, but like I said, I think a Republican as vice president and a Democrat as president would go a long way. Especially a middle of the road Democrat or Republican, like Mitt Romney.
Middle of the road Republicans are dangerous. No, there is no middle of the road. My apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off.
When I say middle of the road, I mean a Republican that can see both sides and understand both issues and not just be headstrong in one way or the other.
Right, but even Cheney and Kinzinger, they voted no on this pro-rights thing, this pro-women thing. They voted against that. No Republican voted for it, not even Romney. Only one Democrat switched over, and that was Manchin. Everybody else voted no. So
right, correct.
there's none of those people I would want in a position of potentially controlling our government. So I'd have to say no with that.
I have to
Today's
ask
Republicans,
this.
I'd say no.
I did not see the vote, so I have to ask: were there any abstentions?
I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't think so, though.
Well, that is what it is.
Yeah, but no, those were 49 Democrats, 51 Republicans voted no. Manchin, he's a Republican, so
If he had voted yes,
it wouldn't have mattered. He needed 60 votes. They needed 60. Didn't matter. They weren't going to get 10 Republicans. Wasn't going to happen. But they wanted them on record. Because now they can say, you know what, American people, 70% of you want this. And these 50 people said, fuck off. We know it's better for you.
See, that's the thing. I say people don't believe me. They say, well, you're a Democrat. Well, no, not really. I go for whoever has the right idea. If
the
you're,
one that's
if
going to keep
you're
me alive at the end of the day, that's who I.
Right. And just to give you an example of how non-party I am, 1983, or not? No, I'm sorry, 2003. I was in New York City. I worked for a big firm. I was personal protection. I was a bodyguard, and I was also a security officer. In the summer, for 3 days, I was bodyguarding and providing security for the RNC in Madison Square Garden and around New York City. The RNC, now, and I remember it well, it was Bush and Cheney that were running at that time. Now, I didn't turn around and say, well, shit, I'm a Democrat. I can't do that because that would be betraying my party. I said, fuck it. Let people be who they got to be. And at the end of the day, if they got the right answers, great. If they don't, I don't give a fuck, they're gone. You know?
I don't know, though.
I know a lot of
Republicans talk out the side of their mouth a lot. They say one thing and do it. To be honest with you, dude, not until they prove themselves that I have no desire to have a Republican anywhere near the Speaker of the House, Vice President, or let alone President. Not today. Not with what they're doing today. They've done everything they can to undermine our democracy. Right. They brought it to the edge of a precipice, and we will not survive this next one.
You're right, and everybody says, "Well, the Republicans are Republican." They're not the same party that they were in the 70s and the 80s.
That's right. They're not. They're worse. They've gotten worse.
And oh yeah,
they've gotten taken over. They've done everything they can to take power. They've always said that we get the power for that. That's what McConnell always says. But he says that because he's admitting the truth for themselves.
It's called projection.
Yeah, sure.
He says, how the Democrats are always trying to get power. Meantime, he's over there saying, he's over there saying we're not going to confirm a Supreme Court justice during Obama's time because, they want the power. It's you wanting the power. It's not the Democrats. It's you wanting. And then 2 weeks
before the November election, they pushed through Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, which makes me think, hey, maybe they should, revisit those confirmation hearings, and maybe they should say, y'all lied under oath, y'all are out.
Mark my words on something that even this November, if the Republicans wind up getting their asses handed to them and losing their seats, that they will not accept the outcome of the election. The people I'm talking about, the civilians, not of course the ones that are losing. I'm referring
to but what's going to happen when they win?
You really think they're going to win, dude? I think this Roe v. Wade thing. I don't know. That was the wrong time.
Right, but what happens if they win and when they win? And now the Democrats come out and go, well, you said all the elections were rigged. Why isn't this one of them? You guys don't deserve to be there.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can do about it because they voted in. If
No,
they were
there's not.
legitimate, but you know what, dude? I really do believe that in some of these states, if they do wind up winning, it's because they found a way to cheat. I've never said that before. This is my first time making that as a potential outcome. But this particular time around, they're going to cheat if they can, or they're going to lie and say or whatever they can to try to remain in power, not relinquish their seats.
What about the law of diminishing returns? You hear so much
diminishing
of it
returns, yes.
You hear so much of it that it doesn't bother you anymore. By the time they're done hammering Roe v. Wade into the public, and by the time election comes along, people are going to be sick of Roe v. Wade, and they're going to be like, I don't fucking care. Let me go on to the next issue.
I don't think so. I think this is too big of an issue. In fact, the reason why I say that is a lot of the things I follow, which in themselves have a fair amount of following. Not that I don't watch them for that, but anyway. Those circles are really mad. And they're the women of this country. I really believe that they're going to say, this ain't happening. You know, they've had 50 years of peace. You know, even though they knew in the back of their minds that this could happen again. And I tell you what, I'm really glad that I'm on their side, because I'd hate to be the motherfucker that they come across, because they're going to rip their head off. But I think that's coming. I really do. It's coming. And the spouses, I support my wife 100%. You know, if she feels the need that this is strong, I'll either go up to Washington with or without her to support her.
All right, let me take these last few minutes of the cast over and just throw some information out.
Yeah, go.
This girl, the one who's missing, apparently the girlfriend or second wife of her father was arrested at one point for welfare fraud because she was using Harmony's name to get food stamps, even though Harmony wasn't living with them.
Wow.
And so they dropped the fraud charges and bumped them up to federal fraud charges, or state, felony charges. But now a judge has released her on $5,000 bail. And she's been told to stay. She has a no contact order with the girl's father, and the judge says, yeah, she can go home as long as she shows back up at court the next time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though in jail she called the father after this stipulation was put on her. She called the father's parents. She called his father to relay the message that she still loves him and she will wait till the end of time for him and this and that, and she's not going anywhere. And even knowing this, the judge says, yeah, you can go home.
Wow.
How our justice system is like...
Our justice system is fine. It's the people that we've now put in place are put there because they don't give a fuck. That's why they're put there. So we need to correct that. Our justice system is fine. We need the right people to be able to manage that system properly. And the judges that are forced into those fucking positions against our better judgment need to be reviewed.
My son said to me today, he said, Dad, we're supposed to learn from history so we don't repeat it. Why are they trying to turn everything back 100 years?
More so. Dude, I'm telling you. You remember?
I told him, I said, you really don't understand how bad it is. Just wait until the lynchings start again. The cross burnings on the lawns start again.
Colored section only.
You know, I could
I
see
don't
it.
know what I would do, dude, if I walked into a fucking restaurant and saw a colored fucking section. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that section would be outside. So they
I don't care
have
where
to
the
be
section
seen
is.
inside.
One, I would never eat there again. And two, I'd probably picket the fucking place. Are you kidding me? 2022, we're even having this conversation like it's on the fucking table that we could potentially go back to the days of the 50s and 60s or whatever.
When
we were back to this again, are you kidding me? We're here again.
But here's the problem. And I want you to think of this logically. We're in 2022. They're about to overturn Roe v. Wade. Can you tell me beyond the shadow of a doubt that within the next 10 years we won't regress past individual rights?
Dude, if the Republicans take control, it'll be this year. It'll be before,
What I'm saying is
it'll be before 2024. Because they can hang on. The Senate has the ability to veto the president's decision. So if the Senate's taken over by Republicans and they pass shit and it gets vetoed by the president, well, it can go back to the Senate, and then guess what? They can do it anyway. So they can do shit without the president. So yeah, this is serious. After this November, if the Republicans take control, all that stuff is on the table.
You're missing my point. That
it's on the table now, though, not 10 years.
No, what's on the table now is short term. What I'm talking about is rights for LGBTQ and rights for blacks to set them and segregation. Segregation is not on the table now. Segregation is nowhere near now. Right?
No,
segregation
yes, it is. No. Yeah. They'll take advantage of the power while they have it. So they can do as much destruction as they can.
No, they'll do it step by step so that the American people don't see all the bad all at once. So if they see a bad, then they get a break, then they see a bad, and by the time they get to the third bad, they've forgotten about the first bad.
I disagree with that. I think if the Republicans get control now, they ain't going to stop until they're done. Period. Their agendas. Even McConnell has said that they want to do a nationwide abortion ban, when before they were saying, oh no, the decision's not even made yet. We don't even know what's going to happen. They've already put shit in place to make sure that does happen. They're not doing theirs. They hate the LGBT community. They hate the fact that same-sex people can marry each other. Do you know how much that infuriates them? That they can't even.
I don't get that because if they're anti-abortion, I don't get that because if they're anti-abortion, LGBTQ is the only set of people who will never have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. It ends in their bloodline, right? So I don't know why they actually hard on with what's going on. That doesn't affect them.
And the LGBTQ can adopt those babies that are not wanted.
But maybe that's the fucking problem. They don't want some queer motherfucker having a kid. Oh, heaven forbid they might have a family and be able to raise a kid better than these white motherfuckers can.
Well, that's a wonderful note.
I can bust on myself. That's okay.
Now, real quick, because I forgot to bring this up. Did you hear about that teacher? Yes, the one in Florida. A new one in Florida.
The kneeler. Oh, not a kneeler?
Yes, no. This woman said to a child, "You're an N-word," and N-words.
I know the story.
And blacks are beneath whites.
Yes, I saw that too. Really? Beneath? Are you fucking kidding me?
How? I mean, isn't it? Doesn't Florida have we can't make people feel racially uncomfortable in schools?
What, the don't say gay bill? Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm talking, sort of, yeah. I mean, Florida at this point is like, it's like a crapshoot. It's like it's a
petri dish for friggin'.
It is, because you could say
conspiracy theorists.
You talk about this, but then they have that, and then they have this, but this also relates to that, and it's like a big shit show. And there's no ringmaster.
Right.
It's just
Well, they're all
show.
ringmasters. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
So, yeah, I just couldn't believe. I couldn't believe that in this day and age. And then the school's stance was. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
The school's stance was words don't hurt. Get over yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
Get over yourself. A teacher, someone in authority just called you the N-word, and you need to get over it.
It was more than that, but just, yeah. Yep. We're here. Yep. We're actually here. Yep. Alive and well in Florida. Jim Crow 2.3, 4.0. What number are we at?
Florida is like the armpit of America.
Pretty much. Yep. It makes a lot of sense now. While I know there's someone I'm thinking about in the back of my mind that's probably why this particular person lives there. Yeah, because into their racist views, I guess, is what I've discovered.
What gets me is the people who say, would you date a black girl? And I say, not as a rule, no. And they say, well, then you're racist.
I haven't been asked. I say,
I'm not racist. I didn't say I wouldn't date any. I just said 99.7% of them I would not, just because I have certain physical characteristics and certain personality characteristics. Huh?
Yeah, but what you were saying is not the right answer. I would jump into what you just said.
No.
If you just skipped into what you just said, it'd be better.
I wouldn't date an Asian. Not because they're Asian, but because I don't like short people. All right. I wouldn't date a Samoan because most of them are big and tall, and I'm only 5'9", and if you're 5'7" or above and you put on 3-inch heels, I look stupid. So it's not their race, it's the person. Huh?
I might pay to see that, just saying.
It's not the race. It's just my individual preference. Do you know I have never dated a blonde girl?
Yeah, but why aren't we at the point in our fucking society where that doesn't come up as something to critique? It's not even a thought. It's not even a... I'm not saying anything about what you just said. I'm just saying in general that when people have these conversations, somehow that gets in there a little bit. And
see, I've never dated a blonde girl. I never dated a blonde girl. I've never dated a girl with a small chest. But I'm not sexist. I'm not, what do
I was pleasantly surprised.
I'm not discriminating against hair colors. I just don't. It's just not my preference. And nobody turns around to me and says, "You've never dated a blonde girl. You're an evil person." Right. Guess what? I never dated a blind girl either, or a deaf girl. But that's just my choice. I'm not against the disabled. So, to turn around and pick that out and go, well, you wouldn't date a black girl, so you're racist. Fuck you. I'm not racist. It's just not my preference. And I think that argument has to be put aside. I think that they need to come up with something new, because the idea of you wouldn't date them, so therefore you hate them, is ridiculous. Find another reason for me to hate them, because that's not it.
It just shouldn't be the question. That question needs to disappear.
Do you know how many times I've been asked that, though?
I've been asked it a fair few. You know, I don't understand why it matters. Is she pretty or not? Yes or no? The outward, I mean, what you see color-wise is irrelevant. It can add or detract from the beauty of that particular person.
I agree.
You know, I mean, it's just I don't know. I just, in all parts. I mean, I've heard it from every color of person, a similar conversation. We all need to stop.
Yes.
Looking at things the way we perceive them and just see them as, I don't know, raw and what it really is. You know?
The problem is people are trying to make more out of things than are actually there.
It keeps the divide strong.
Right. And so, with that being said, I have one announcement to make, and then we could call it a day. And that announcement is sometime within the next 4 days, we'll be putting out a supplemental video on some major changes coming to some video games and some major changes that have come to PlayStation that people may not be aware of. So look for that video within the next couple of days if you're interested in everything gaming. And with that being said, we are out of here.
Ciao.
Matt, you have a good night.
That was fun.